me about a taxi driver that family had used on many occasions, and who had always been nice to her and spoke to her in a friendly manner. The taxi was ordered to take her to her dad's house to see him. On this occasion, the driver told her she could sit in the front seat. In a matter of minutes, he started to tell her how sexy she was in her little skirt. In his words, he said, all white slags wore skirts like hers. He then placed his hand on her knee, telling her the whole time that she couldn't get away. He thrust his hand up her skirt and into her underwear. They had to stop at traffic lights and she took the opportunity to jump out of the car and run. She hid behind a bush for what seemed to her to be hours, but she isn't sure how long she was there. Because she said she was too scared to tell anyone what had happened to her, because she thought it was her fault for wearing the short little skirt that he made a point of mentioning. Imagine if she had not jumped out of that car, what could and would have happened to her then? I also had a girl contact me who had innocently made friends with a Muslim boy at school. They became very good friends and eventually said, come meet my big brother. She innocently went and met him. The older boy flattered her and told her how beautiful she was, how special she was. A few short weeks later, he raped her. The whole time telling her she was a filthy white slag. Can you turn that page over, please, Richard? Bear with me. Richard always becomes my handyman. Bear with me. I know Steve. He said his fingers are too big.
Turn the other one, Rich.
Now, we are aware that this also happened to Sikh girls. And I know without any doubt that this happens to Muslim girls, because I've spoken and helped them too. But they are bound to silence due to the fact that an entire community will turn on them and blame them, as the female is seen as a seducer and therefore to blame and not the men. I have a wonderful friend whose cousin was dating a Muslim man. He forced her to get a tattoo with the words, property on, and his name was added. One night he came to her home and he raped her, the whole time beating and abusing her. Eventually he stabbed her multiple times. When that didn't kill her, he took a call from a games console and strangled her until she was dead. Her body was dumped and wrapped in a carpet. Her name was Kelly Sinnott. Why is it that we all know who Stephen Lawrence was, and rightly so, of course? Yet when reported by the media, this girl was referred to as Carpet Girl, as if her name does not matter as much. It does, it will, it should.
Yeah.
Because I refuse to remain silent on this issue, I get regular threats, mostly from the left, and I am constantly called a racist. If standing up for right over wrong is racist, then it's a label I would accept, because I cannot accept the silence from the government and the media about these crimes, which in truth are racist themselves. What if this was your child? What would you want? Would you expect them to matter less? Would you want the perpetrators to be referred to as Asian? Why is it okay to offend an entire continent? The next major issue that I have is the spread of Sharia law courts in this country. Over 100 at the last count, which doesn't include that operate behind closed doors in mosques. If Sharia law is not stopped, it will eventually lead to the stoning of women for honour-based court crimes, including the crime of having been raped. It will lead to the beheadings for apostasy or blasphemy, to hand-and-foot amputations for lesser offences, to a public hanging of homosexuals and outspoken women. Well, that's me screwed then, isn't it? It's the incessant war against non-Muslims, especially Jews, to slavery, particularly female sexual slavery, to female genital mutilation, which happens in this country every 61 minutes. Take that into account. 61 minutes, a little girl is butchered. But we won't mention that because it makes you a racist. There will be no democracy, no human rights, everyone will be on their knees, non-Muslims will be seen as dhimmis, there will be no music except for the call to prayer, and no dancing. There will be public floggings for sexual crimes such as flirting or speaking with an unrelated person of the opposite sex. All women will be under the veil. It is perhaps the most cruel and violent system of human life and social organisation which has so far been invented, and it came from the desert waste. Last page, please, mate.
Get louder, get louder.
From the dead heart of Arabia. Surely this shouldn't be acceptable in our great country. Sharia law has no place in civilised society. Come on. Louder, please, people! Lastly, we have the problem of political correctness. This issue allows the other two, Muslim grooming gangs and Sharia law, to become problems themselves. Without political correctness, there would be no problems of grooming gangs. They would have been dealt with by the police and councils long ago. Without political correctness, there would be no Sharia law, and it would have been unable to thrive unchecked in England. Political correctness has stifled debate and stopped people being able to address the very real issues we now face here in the UK. Only by breaking the chain can we eventually begin to understand the severity of the issues and the enormity of the task we have in stopping it from gaining further traction.
Yep.
We must now say we will not allow one more man, woman or child to be sacrificed at the altar of political correctness. Each of us here has made a personal sacrifice, be it financial or emotional. But we do it because we care. We do it because it is right to speak out. We do it because those who refuse must be made to listen. We do it because silence does and will create victims.
Yep.
We will not stand idly by, allowing people to suffer in silence. Be the voice of the voiceless, because without your voice, they are kept prisoners of political correctness.
Yep.
And I also have got a little bit beyond that. I have a message here from a Muslim lady that I've been supporting for the last 4 years. Now hopefully if my battery's not dead, just bear with me. I can figure out how to switch it on. Yes, please.
I just want to reiterate to all those slanderers that are calling us racists, Tony's going to read a message from a Muslim lady, not an ex-Muslim, but a Muslim lady that she knows personally and that she supports. So the slur of racism is a disgraceful slander against the good people that have gathered here today, veterans and football lads. Yeah. And women, and Gurkhas. Disgraceful.
Okay, bear with me because his battery goes off. Okay, she says, "Dear everyone, sorry I am unable to be here in person, but I want to lend my support as a Muslim woman to Tony and Marius. Tony is a wonderful human being and she has been my support system since I was left to die by my abusive husband. After robbing me of my sanity, finances, motherhood and womanhood, this is the first time I was exposed to Sharia court, which ruled that if my husband said verbally, 'I divorce you 3 times, then this ends my marriage.' After that, I kept hearing stories of how Muslim men use various Sharia laws to dominate and abuse British Muslim women. Now, what I mean by British is girls who have been born and brought up in the UK. They are classed as cheap compared to those who are born in Muslim lands. So you could see why Maria's is such an important, relevant project today. Please keep supporting Tony for us brave and our British culture."
Come on! Yeah! Let's give Tony a massive round of applause. She is a hero. She is a hero of our age.
Baroness!
So much to protect women. And I want to tell you something. The biggest victims of radical Islamofascism are the women in the Muslim communities. They are the victims, along with our girls that are getting groomed. It's an absolute scandal. Give Tony a massive round of applause. We're now going to have